the handlebars still aren't held in by anything but hopes and dreams. This is the Mark 2.5, and this is precisely the problem I've been having with this chain, is it just does not fit that 56 tooth spoke. So we went and ordered a 415 chain. We'll go size that up, and hopefully replacing the chain will sort out a few of the issues I've been having. So one of the other things I'm trying to take care of today is worrying about how much heat is getting in behind here. So one of the things I thought is just to create an extra barrier between the fuel line and the engine was I've just got a piece of garden hose which I've put a slice down the middle of, and we're just going to slip that around the hose there, and hopefully just to add an extra layer of insulation so we don't end up popping a hole in the hose, which it looks good so far, but we want to get on it before we go too far. Alrighty, so what I did was dropped our hose just into this jug of boiling water. Now if I just tip that out, the hose just wasn't very malleable and it wasn't forming to the shape I wanted. So a couple of cable ties later, and we have our new heat shield. Yeah, I love garden hose. It's resilient stuff. It's not the best at insulating heat, but it's just an extra barrier. But I've used garden hose for everything from watering the garden to towing a car. That stuff is just brilliant. So we'll see how this goes. And yeah, I mean, it's got to melt through all of that before it even hits the fuel line now, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll go ahead and pop our chain off, and we'll try and fit the new chain and see how we go. This is why you should check the bike after every ride, because I've only just realised now that one of the little bolts is missing from the clutch cover. Not a big deal for me because I've got so many of these motors just lying around now that I'll just go pull a spare part off. But that's probably an ill-portent. The other question is, how is that silicone paint going? It's interesting that the main body of the muffler is fairly well intact. It's just burnt off this top half here, which goes to show that a lot of the heat is dissipated by the time it hits the chamber anyway. So our 415 chain is on. Like a numpty, I made the chain too short, but in the end it might be better because I should be able to do without that chain tensioner. We'll see. I've never really ridden one without a tensioner before, so we'll just have to see how we go. Not really sure how or if it'll run, but let's kick it up and see. Alrighty, so I've managed to damage the clutch, and that's probably happened when the chain's bound up previously. So we'll pop off the clutch cover and start again. Alrighty, so there was nothing too unusual going on in here. I think it just had worked its way a little bit loose. So obviously clutch out, we want to be able to turn the rear wheel freely. I mean, with the clutch in, I always get those muddled up. There you go. We have compression. So we'll stick the cover back on and go for another trial. Well, it starts and it didn't instantly bind up. So the only thing to do is take it out on the road and see if we really notice a difference. All in all, that wasn't a bad ride. It's a lot smoother with this chain on. I feel like the motor was really fighting it before. But it's so much slower than what I'm used to. Even with the 48 tooth currently on the Mark IV, it's just so much slower. And part of that is because this engine still isn't broken in. I haven't even ridden through a litre of fuel, I don't think, because all I've done is ridden this around the estate a few times. A couple things to try now. I'm reasonably happy with how that is. I have a spare banana exhaust. I didn't like it when I tried it on the Mark IV, and in fact I gave it away. I stuck it on a bike I was repairing for a neighbour. But the second one came, and I'm just going to see if that really does improve the torque delivery or not. Again, it's a bit loud for me. I don't really like how it sounds, but we'll see. The other primary concern with this bike is, of course, the angle that the carby is on. One of the things I've considered doing here is getting the Dremel out and just cutting a shape out of the frame there. Because I've already hacked into this post here. It's already fairly weak. The handlebars still aren't held in by anything but hopes and dreams. There's a lot going on in this bike that sort of makes it not ideal for long-term use. There's a bit of melty hose where it's been contacting the engine, but that just means it's doing its job. Right, so our banana muffler is on. This is as poorly built as the first one I got. I'm not even going to bother about trying to spray this one. It's such a piece of crap anyway. And if you look closely, it's spraying the exhaust straight onto my gears, which isn't a problem because I can't use them anyway. There is no gear selector for that sprocket, and a sketchy one at best for the one on the rear. Alright, let's cam up and see how we go. Alrighty.